Hey guys, welcome to Alex and Andy Live once again on day number 29 of a citywide lockdown here in Shanghai, China. Right now you're looking at our favorite view of Lujiazui, which is the downtown financial district. Now we have some news, obviously updates for you today, including some confusion to fix up. But this morning I got up and saw the new numbers and I was really shocked. Alex, did you see? What was your feeling?
Yeah, same. I mean, obviously, we'll show you those numbers here in just a minute. But the number of quote unquote confirmed cases, which really means symptomatic cases, has shot up and is easily the highest number that we've seen since the start. But a lot of those cases formerly were classified as asymptomatic cases, so they aren't new positive tests, but rather just people who had been testing positive and were asymptomatic becoming symptomatic. And I'm not sure if that is possibly because of perhaps a redefinition of what symptomatic means. Maybe I would guess that maybe they've sort of tweaked the sort of the requirements to be designated as symptomatic. I mean, otherwise it doesn't really stand to reason that all of a sudden we've got this many people that are becoming symptomatic. So I would guess that maybe they've sort of relaxed or sort of shifted the goalposts to sort of say, I don't know if that's the right term to use, but just sort of like change what constitutes a symptomatic case would be my guess. But we're going to talk to Yang Jian here in a minute and find out.
Right, yeah, but first I will read those numbers because the first thing this morning, this is what happens. I get up and I go to Shanghai Fabu, the Shanghai Information Office WeChat to see the new numbers because I've posted them out on Twitter. And I was really shocked. I hadn't woken up fully yet, but I saw 5,487 new symptomatic cases and 9,545 asymptomatic cases for a total of 15,032. And the day before was 10,622. So on my calculation, the numbers had gone up 41.5%. And I just thought that can't be right. So thankfully, I looked closely at the numbers and found out that, like you said, a huge number of those were previously asymptomatic, which means they're technically not new infections. They're just swapped over, like you said. So actually, the real numbers today were much lower, actually lower than 10,000, like we were hoping yesterday, because I don't have the exact number here, but there were about 400 new asymptomatic cases that are actual new symptomatic. See, I'm confused. 400 new symptomatic cases that didn't come from asymptomatic, if you know what I mean.
425, yeah. So it was 418 people were in central quarantine, presumably after having been deemed close contacts. Right now, what they are still taking close contacts to quarantine if the facilities are available. I will say, I'm just so my next door neighbors tested positive. I think 2 days ago. There's 5 people living there, and they took the 2 positive people away. They did not send the other 3 to central quarantine as close contacts. Obviously, they are close contacts. What I heard was the hotel in our district for close contacts is full. I don't know. A third person tested positive again today. So we've had another positive case today in that same apartment building, which is right there.
And that will slowly happen. It'll keep going up. I think everyone in the apartment, you said there's 5, right?
5 people, yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll all end up being positive, I reckon. It's just a minute.
I hope not, but yeah, I mean, it seems it would stand to reason. Now, I'm not advocating, and I wouldn't say take those people away because I
send them out.
I would not say that. But we'll see what they do. Anyway, so back to the numbers. It says the first 418 of the patients tested positive in central quarantine, presumably as close contacts. 7 more tested positive during the screening of high-risk people. That would be the people that are out. And then all of the other ones, over 5,000, were previously asymptomatic infections that have now been determined to be symptomatic. And so these numbers that we're looking at here are a little bit, I don't want to say they're misleading, but they don't exactly represent the kind of spike that it looks like they represent. Let me just put it that way.
Right, yeah, you can see the spike right here. So obviously, if you look, if you can see my cursor there, these are the symptomatic cases. They started coming up here, a little bit of a spike here, but nowhere near as much of a spike as we're seeing now, which really, like we're assuming, comes from some kind of change in the policy. But I reckon what we need to do is bring in Yang Jian, our expert, who is going to tell us all about it. Yang Jian, hi, how's it going?
Hi, hello.
Hey.
Hey, so can you tell us about this huge increase in symptomatic cases today? Because, like I said before, I was a bit worried, but there must be a reason behind it, and I'm hoping you found out at today's press conference.
Yes, I think you guys have explained a bit. The main cause is there are over 5,000 confirmed cases who were previously asymptomatic infections. And at the press briefing, the Health Commission official explained that these 5,000 asymptomatic cases showed symptoms such as fever or cough and other respiratory symptoms during the central quarantine at local makeshift hospitals. So after evaluation of medical experts, and the reason too is according to the nation's updated coronavirus diagnosis and the treatment protocol, they were recounted as the confirmed cases. So they have actually been double counted. The first time is when they test positive but remain asymptomatic, and the second time is today when their symptoms showed up. So if we take this part out, the actual new infection number is 9,970, which is 6% fewer than the previous day. So, it might be strange that so many asymptomatic cases suddenly showed symptoms in one day. And one of Shanghai's top coronavirus experts, Professor Hu Bijie, once explained that these asymptomatic patients may be at the early incubation period of their infection. The incubation period can range from 3 days to 2 weeks and 7 days on average. So theoretically, all the asymptomatic cases have the chance to show symptoms later. And the authority has said before that over 90% of the local infections are asymptomatic. So even a small part of them are actually in the incubation period and show the symptoms later. It could be a large number, like today's over 5,000. So the good sign is the community transmission remains at a quite low level. Only 108 were found during the community PCR screening, which is almost half fewer than the previous day. So the city's pandemic is still trending towards the positive direction, I think, Andy.
Yeah, that's good. Well, it's good that that does make a little bit of sense, at least in terms of sort of being double counted, right? But I did want to ask you about something else. So we've been talking about the precautionary areas versus the lockdown areas and the different sort of classifications. So apparently a large number of people in the city are in precautionary areas, which means that they ostensibly can move around in their sub-districts. So what are those numbers looking like?
Yes, the city today also redesignated the locked down, controlled, and precautionary areas according to the results of the latest PCR and the antigen testing across the city. According to the new designation, some 12 million Shanghai residents are now within the precautionary areas, which include communities, villages, companies, or sites where no COVID case was reported in the past 2 weeks. And the number is 60% higher to the last designation on April the 20th. At the beginning, there were only 4.8 million residents in the precautionary zone, mainly on the outskirts of Shanghai. And meanwhile, some 5 million residents remain under lockdown at the locked down areas, where new cases popped up in the last week. And the number is more than half decreased to the previous designation. And the number of citizens in the controlled areas has increased by a third, meaning more people under lockdown are now allowed to go downstairs and work around their communities. And according to the official explanation, people in the precautionary areas are allowed to move around within their sub-districts or towns. But the official also noted that the districts or sub-districts and the towns have the final say on the details, depending on the pandemic situation in that region. For instance, if there are many locked down areas neighboring these precautionary regions, the district government can step up management and control measures. Alex.
Awesome. Now, Yang Jian, I wanted to ask, because we've seen a lot of complaints recently, like food quality complaints, price gouging, online fraud as well. And I know that the head of police said something about that recently. Can you tell us what actions may be taken there?
Yes, the vice mayor of the city, who is also the head of the city's police bureau, said there are 52,000 police officers who are on duty across the city during the pandemic, and their job mainly include to crack down on legal offenses, like you mentioned, and check the certificates of delivery staff and other workers allowed to move around, and solve various difficulties for citizens. And since the COVID resurgence on March the 1st, 700 people have received criminal or administrative punishments for violations such as swindling, price gouging, and making or selling fake products, such as the substandard pork, like many online complaints on WeChat. And citizens are now encouraged to tip off the police, such as like our readers once mentioned, they were charged with sky-high prices by some drivers who take them to the city's airports. And the vice mayor said today, he said, we will verify every tip off from citizens and severely crack down on those who are making black money against their conscience during the pandemic. And the head of the police bureau also said citizens should be on alert against the online swindling, who may claim to offer refunds from some e-commerce platforms, or they claim to offer some government relief or subsidies, and they ask you to take part in some investment in COVID-19 vaccines. And some cheaters also claim to be the head of some community group buying or delivery staff to cheat money from the residents. And he also warned some so-called black riders, which is the illegal delivery staffer, were found working around the city. And many of them failed to follow the COVID prevention rules, such as to receive PCR tests every other day. And they are also delivering fake products or overbid freely. So the police will now stop and inspect every motorcycle and every delivery stop at the entrance of local communities and on the road on both their certificates and PCR testing reports. Andy.
Awesome. Thank you, as always, Yang Jian. We will see you again, same time tomorrow.
Okay, see you. Bye.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thanks.
Again, a lot of information there, Alex. I did want to comment on the last one when we're talking about Yang Jian just said the police will stop every motorcyclist doing deliveries to make sure everything's up to scratch. I think I'm not sure. I'm of two minds with that, because it's already really, really slow getting deliveries here in Shanghai. It's difficult to get food, so I'm kind of worried that's going to slow things down a lot more and make things a lot more complicated than they already are. What do you reckon?
I do. And I know that there are some people out there doing deliveries, how should I say this, that are, just individual deliveries. I think that this might make that more difficult. Like, look, I mean, I guess if it can help to stop the spread of the virus, I guess it's a good thing. But then again, I hope it doesn't make the availability of products, A, more slow, and B, more restrictive. One of my big concerns is, and it's been less of a concern in recent weeks, is just heavy restrictions on the types of goods that I'm allowed that people are allowed to get. I don't feel comfortable with my Juehui telling me that I can buy, milk, but I can't buy Coca-Cola, or that I can buy, this, but I can't buy that for completely ridiculous reasons. And so I'm not comfortable with that. And so I hope that this doesn't sort of creep back down that rabbit hole, because that will make me an unhappy guy.
Yeah, like we've been saying, a lot during our streaming, the Juehui has been delegated a lot of responsibility, a lot of decision making as well. And I wanted to go back to another point we were talking with Yang Jian about, which is these precautionary areas. Now, he said that nearly half of Shanghai are already precautionary areas. Nearly half of Shanghai should be technically allowed to go out and move around their sub-districts or towns, but down to the Juehui, my district, my community, our building hasn't had a positive case in 16 days, apparently. But there's still no chance of us heading outside the Juehui just decided it's not going to happen. So, like you're saying, a lot of people are frustrated that so much is left up to the whim, I guess, of the Zhu Weikui. These people that haven't really had much impact on our lives before this situation are suddenly having a huge say. So a lot of people are uncomfortable with that, and I think rightly so.
Yeah, I agree. We know that, and I was just talking with a friend earlier today about this, and I think he is in a similar situation where his compound has been designated as one of the precautionary areas in the green, essentially, but he's not allowed to walk around outside in his sub-district, and I know that's true for a whole lot of people. Of course, my community is in the red. Obviously, as I was just talking about, there's a new case literally on this floor today, so I'm not going anywhere, but but I do know that there are a lot of people now. Of course, as we talked before with one of our colleagues, once this exact thing that we just pulled up on screen was sort of implemented, and we know that there are some people that are out walking around, because we've had some videos. Some of our colleagues, like Jack, interviewing some people that were able to go down to a nearby convenience store and purchase some different items that they were having trouble buying, and group buys and stuff like that. And we did see some people walking their dogs and things just in the small perimeter around their apartment complex. But I also know that it's true that a lot of people, even if they are in the green area, like you are, Andy, are not allowed to, for one reason or another. And really, yeah, I guess, as we've been saying since the beginning of this whole thing, the Juehui, or neighborhood committees, really have a lot of leeway in terms of how they want to enforce different policies to an extent. And so
powerful.
And so that's causing some frustration for people whose neighborhood communities are difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it depends on not just whether you've got a good Juehui or neighborhood committee, but whether they're any use as well. We have some comments on the Shanghai Ribao Shine WeChat page. Yolanda says, haha, but can't go out. Then Daniel Levi said, it is sad. So you agree it is a lie. We can't go out. I think it's not fair to call it a lie. It's just that a lot of these decisions are being delegated to the Juehui. So the central government, the city government has put together this system we see on the screen now, Shanghai's 3-level lockdown, but they have left the final word, as with many things, to the Juehui. So if you're in a community like I am, which is in the green, technically should be allowed to go out. It may not be the case. You may not be allowed to go out based on what your neighborhood committee decides. And who knows, there should be a number of factors they're taking into account. I don't know what they are. And that's another reason why people are, I guess, getting so peed off with this. There doesn't seem to be much transparency going on. It's kind of uneven across the board. But I think technically they should be taking into account some serious issues. Of course, we don't want to see everybody just flooding out and the virus grabbing hold again. If that would happen, I'm not sure. But I know in my Juehui, they've said you can go out if you have very urgent needs, including heading to a hospital or whatever. But that would have been the case whether we were red, orange, or green anyway. So I'm not sure what they're working on there.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to a hospital. You've got to get a special pass, but if you go to you can go to a hospital and get medical treatment if you need it, regardless. Yeah, regardless of whether you're in the red, the orange, or the green there. But yeah, no, I mean, it's just, this is the policy, but as Andy said, a lot of leeway in terms of its enforcement has been allowed and given to individual neighborhood communities. And some of them have decided, they say that it's green, but we're still not going to let anybody out. And unfortunately, it seems like that there's not a whole lot that people can do about that. And so that's just kind of what it is. I mean, some people in the green, their committees are allowing them out. Some people in the green, their committees are deciding not to. And, I mean, that just is where we're at right now. We know that the neighborhood committees have sort of an outsized amount of power in terms of making decisions for everyone that lives in their community. So unfortunately, that's just what it is right now. And we'll keep abreast of any changes that happen in the future, as far as not just official policies, but different trends and what's going on as well, because it's important that we pay attention to official policy, of course, and not rumor, but also different trends that are happening are also important to pay attention to.
Right. No, it is true. As I said before, this situation, a lot of people in China, in Shanghai, everywhere, didn't even know the Juehui or the neighborhood committee existed before 2020 when COVID hit, and then they started becoming a larger part of our life. Obviously, now that we're under lockdown, they are becoming an even larger part of our lives and dictating a lot, a lot of people are uncomfortable with it. Other people have good situations. As Alex said before, some people in the green have been allowed out. It's just a bit of a mixed bag. So yeah. Anyway, let's move along, I reckon. We have a little bit of a nice story here, a video actually, which is about a couple who are working for Hema and Fresh Hippo in Chengdu. Not in Shanghai. Anyway, they delayed their wedding photo shoot and came to Shanghai to help out with the current situation. So let's watch that and we'll be right back.
是4月8号，我们在群里面发的，他们区域的 HR 机在门店发的消息，然后说上海这边需要支援，然后召集的人，然后我们才自愿报名的。坐飞机到杭州，然后在杭州再换上防护服，再转高铁，然后到达然后上海。感觉事情还是比较严峻，所以说心想，然后就能过来，我们也就一起过来。
刚开始是计划的是4月13号拍婚纱照，然后因为他4月8号接到了需要支援上海的疫情，然后我们就取消了4月13号的拍婚纱照，然后婚礼那些陆陆续续也跟着往后面推了。
我们整个成都区过来了20个，然后重庆的小伙伴们也来了有13个。我从机场那边坐上大巴过后，回来一路上基本上连车都没有。我们想象中的应该都是很多车，特别是刚好那个时候又是晚高峰的样子。
跟我想象中的完全不一样吧，感觉比我们的县城的还要安静。
保供嘛，就是附近被封控的居民太多了嘛，他们。 也可能就是说抢菜呀这些不好抢，然后我们这2天库存核准了过后的话，到时候打开线上了，然后附近的居民也就能够买到一些菜啊、肉啊这些。
基本上就是工作加住的地方2点一线。
这2天基本上都是在重复性的工作，因为要对一个商品核实它的库存啊，然后还有效期啊这些是。 特别是效期这一点，这个是重中之重。今天下午进行了一场大盘点，盘点完了过后，现在差异还没有核实，可能预计的话应该是要弄到8、9点钟左右。我们线上的体量的话，大概是在3000单，但是在这边的话，我看了一下他们之前的数据，可能在5000单左右，对，基本上要翻1倍，可能这边可能工作强度要大一点。如果说现在一旦开业的话，一旦重新开业的话， 整体的压力跟节奏的话就会比较大。就是如果说大家顾客都能进店采购了，其实距离可以，我们也可以出去逛一下的几率也就会更大一点。
虽然上海比拍婚纱照更有意义一点吧，至少我们来了，我们来了，他们至少能买到自己家里面的柴米油盐之类的。 出了一份力，自己心里面也要高兴一点。
上海疫情结束后，我们能尽快完成我们的婚纱照，然后还有婚礼，就想带他来这边外滩啊，然后还有东方明珠啊、迪士尼啊这些去玩一下吧。
好浪漫呢
Yeah.
So cute. Wow, it's really cool.
Yeah, so they're from Chengdu, out in sort of central to western China, a city that I really, really like. I don't know if anyone's out there to Sichuan, but yeah, I really like that part of the country. But yeah, obviously they, with Hema, with the Fresh Hippo, Chinese is called Hema, which means hippo, coming over here to sort of help out with the logistics. Obviously, we know that there have been a lot of strain on the logistics in terms of the supply lines, and then obviously the transport and everything else, the restock, every step of the process obviously has been strained by this whole situation. And so it's good to see people from other parts of the country come and try and help out the city. So
yeah, it's really cool. And they seem so young though. I thought in China you had to be like 24 to get married. They seem way younger than that.
Do you? You have to be. I think so. I don't know. I'm way older.
There's not legalities, I don't know. But that was what I thought. Anyway, they're really cute, and I'm really happy that they've come here to help out. And I hope that this is a story they can look back on later on in their marriage as something that, helped them bond, and, nice romantic story. Let's check out some of the messages. The comments, rather. Rita said, Alex, maybe you should call 12345 and tell them your community is not allowing people to go out, although you're in the green. I think they mean me. I'm the one in the green.
That was Andy. My community, I have a positive case on my floor in my building today, so I'm definitely...
So maybe not.
I'm in the red zone. I'm definitely not in the green zone. But you, Andy, I think are in the green zone.
Yeah, to be quite honest, I'm not gonna. I don't feel like adding too much pressure onto their stress already. So if they say I can't go out, I'm just happy to just listen and stay home. I'm not the kind of person that's going to cause a drama. But obviously, yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to go out.
I do suppose you could do that. I mean, I don't know if it'll have any effect, or if it'll change anything. But I mean, I do suppose that you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Kevin says, "Sweet, cute couple." Which is very true. I had a comment here from one of my really good friends, Arthur Lincoln. He asked, "What's for dinner today, Andy?" Arthur, I missed you yesterday. Today I had hot pot, actually. Guizhou hot pot, which was really nice. Potato, sweet potato, everything. It was really delicious. Thank you so much, Arthur, for showing so much care. Alex, I'm going to bring people along now to the Shine website, because I want people to head along there if they have any information they want to find out. Obviously, we pump this to you guys every day, but it is really important because it is a really good resource for especially people in Shanghai who don't speak Chinese. Right. It's an English language news service by Shanghai Daily, and the website is shine.cn. So obviously we have a whole team who are updating all day, every day, with all of the latest information here. And not just on coronavirus. You can, that's cool. You can also find some international news, videos, opinion features, regional news, and things like that. So, yeah, if you want to find what's happening, the latest here in Shanghai to do with the situation and other news, do head along there and check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, the majority of the content it mirrors the majority of the discourse in Shanghai right now, which obviously is centered around lockdown. When you have a city of nearly 26 million people and most of those people are stuck locked in their apartments, obviously that's going to be what we're talking about. Obviously that's so our content sort of reflects that on our show. We're live here in lockdown, but yes, there are also other things going on in the city, or just other things to be talked about and discussed other than lockdown and COVID. If you've got lockdown or COVID sort of fatigue in terms of talking about it all day long, which I know I do. But at the same time, it's important that we talk about it. Obviously, we're trying to give you guys the news. But if you want to read the news, we also have some other content over there you can check out.
Exactly. Hey, I just want to quickly address this comment. Now, this is where I was coming from with the 24 statements. Mark and Jade said you could marry at 18, but couldn't have kids till 23, but it's not true anymore. So it's interesting because obviously not anymore, but before you couldn't get married in China. Sorry, you couldn't have kids in China unless you were married, and you couldn't get married till 23 or 24. Right. I think it mustn't be the case anymore. So yeah, thanks for that. I'm going to look into it later. Maybe I'll let you guys know. Yeah. Any more comments? Oh, here we go. Travel with Gene says, I always thought marriage for boys and girls were 20 and 22. Maybe you don't mean marriage. Maybe you mean something else. But yeah,
I don't know. We'll have to do some fact finding on that. I don't know. I mean, I do know. Oh my God. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we'll figure it out and we'll talk about it later.
And another comment again from Rita. Alex, you see that you are not adding pressure on the community. Actually, you are helping your neighborhood community to do a better job. That is how Chinese would deal with it. I think, again, she means Andy.
Either way.
Yes.
I'm Alex. But it's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's very true. I think, although today I did give a bit of pressure to our Jiwei because we got a message saying, come downstairs. We have some more things to give you. And I was like, oh, what could it be? What could it be? We went down and it was masks. And I was kind of thinking, what do we need masks for? We're not even allowed out. So a lot of people were really annoyed and arguing with the Zhuwei Hui. It's like, why are you getting us down here for masks? We can't eat masks, which was really funny. And I did give my Zhuwei Hui a bit of a tough time. I said to her, she said, our job is so tough. I said, there are things you can do if you want to make your job less tough. One of them could be, don't get people to come downstairs for masks. If you want to give us masks, that's all very well. Maybe just hold on to it till you have something more interesting to send everybody. You know, fruit and vegetables, put the masks inside, and then you're going to have an easier job. But yeah, anyway, it's not my job. That was just my suggestion.
Well, yeah, you know, I think, you know, it's yeah, there's just so many different issues that are popping up here. You know what I mean? And I know that some of them may seem small in comparison to larger ones, but listen, I mean, people's 情绪, people's mood, people's happiness, people's how people are feeling is going to affect how they behave and affect how they interact. And so I think if a lot of the neighborhood communities sort of take into consideration, and I'm sure a lot of them are, I'm not saying no one is doing that, I'm sure most of them are, but it would help make their job more smooth, go more smoothly if they take people's sort of mood into consideration and kind of think about how people feel about certain actions they take and messages that they send out. I think that's important. And I think some of them are doing a good job at that. Ours here is sort of hit and miss sometimes. Sometimes they make us smile and sometimes they make us frown. So
that's the thing though. It's like, just put yourself in everyone else's shoes. If you're getting everyone to come down, and you're saying, come down and pick up some things we're giving you. Obviously, people are going to be thinking, oh, you know, what could it be? Pork? What could it be? Hot pot mix? You know, things like that. And then you get downstairs and they give you a handful of masks. It's kind of like a cruel joke because we're not allowed out, you know. Like, what are we using the masks for? I don't know. So I got a bit keyed off and I just told her, you know, I was very polite. I just said, people are mad at you and you could have alleviated this by dealing with it better. Like, if you're just giving us masks, hold on to it till you have something else. Wait till another day. Don't get us to come down just for that. I don't know. I thought it made sense.
I agree with you. I agree with you completely.
And the thing is, sorry, I'm going to vent a little bit more. The thing is, we have a group, right? A WeChat group. So we have a few buildings in our compound and people in the buildings that, because they do them one by one, we're last. The people that already had received what they were sending were sending pictures in the group saying it's just masks. It's masks. And so I kind of ignored them saying come down. Then they kept ringing my doorbell. Then they sent me a message on WeChat saying come down. And I was just a bit, miffed. Alex, I've got a call. I'll just get it really quickly because it could be a delivery.
All right. Yeah, check it out. Find out. Anyway, so those are sort of the situations that are happening with that. We've got a couple more videos to show you guys. Andy, once he's done taking care of that, we'll put them on for us. We can talk about it a little bit. Again, I did want to, you good?
Hey, do you mind talking for a couple of minutes, or do you want me to play a video? I've got to go down and grab a delivery.
Let's play the next video, and then once that finishes, I'll talk about that for a while. What's our next video we got? Which one do we want to put on?
Let me see what it is. Here we go. So our colleague Emma did a new video about mental health during the lockdown, which is really important. So I'll play it now, and then I'll be back. Alex, if I'm not back in time, the video will still be on screen, but you'll be able to talk.
No problem.
Sweet.
All right. See you in a minute. And here's the video.
Hi guys, I've just had a really interesting chat with life coach Anne Huft about something she's coined called FOMOFO, fear of missing out on food orders. I think you'll relate. Enjoy. So nice to see you.
And you.
FOMOFO. FOMOFO.
Yeah, I'm saying FOMOFO.
What is it?
It's the fear of missing these very basic things like food and water and toilet paper and coffee. Sometimes there's a limited time frame, like within 2 hours, they need all the orders. Then I find myself constantly checking my phone in all these groups, and there's more and more of these groups, of course, especially because everybody orders so fast. Right? And you hear stories that emergency box in 5 minutes is gone.
There's a few boxes that we've been trying to get, and so we're both kind of sat up in bed, you know, first thing in the morning or on the sofa or whatever it is, both with a phone.
Yeah, I haven't managed to get one. No.
What's the the more serious impact that it's potentially having on us.
Our brain is so stressed out. You cannot take any rational, balanced decision anymore. You're not creative anymore. You lost your sense of humor. All these things that you lose when you're stressed.
Are there any tips that you've got for managing this state?
Can you actually put your phone away for an hour? Try to time it even. Like, I'm putting it away now. And ask your partner, if you're lucky enough to live with a partner, like, what does our fridge look like? What does our kitchen look like? Is this normal? Ask yourself if you can still focus on other things, if you still have your sense of humor, if you're still sticking to your routine of moving, exercise, yoga, whatever, because that definitely has to continue.
When you picture yourself being back outside in Shanghai and lockdowns lifted, where do you think you'll take yourself to first? What are you most looking forward to, particularly when it comes to food or the fear of missing out?
It's going to be pizza and an Aperol Spritz.
Of course, the summer drink of Shanghai.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
We're all in this together. Yeah. And we all have the same worries and the same stress. And it's going to pass. Shanghai was this beautiful city, and it's going to get back on its feet. I'm sure of it.
Thank you so much. It was such a joy to see you.
Thank you. It's lovely to speak to you, always.
Take care, Anne.
You too.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
There you go.
Yeah,
nice tips here, Alex.
Absolutely good video. That's kind of a funny name to call it. I might have chosen something else a little bit.
For mofo.
That's funny. But anyway, yeah, so for sure, I think that's really good advice. I know that, and I'm struggling with that right now. Things that I had a huge stock of even just 2 weeks ago, you run out of them. And there's so many different things. I mean, I can list them off. I mean, just from not just regular meat and vegetables, but any sort of drinks or snacks or toothpaste, toilet paper and soap and dish soap and laundry soap and spice. I mean, it's, a huge long litany of things, and everyone knows this because we've all been dealing with this. And so trying to get those things, get those orders in. If you're doing the whole Shanghai thing where you wait until it's 6 o'clock or 8:30 and you press the button 100 times and maybe you get 10% of what you were trying to get, super stressful and annoying. Trying to get orders at AD or other services that are even unavailable. I've got about probably 15 or 20 Jingdong orders that are pending right now. Some of them have been pending for a month. No idea if or when I'll get them, but the money's already spent. It's frustrating and it's annoying, and it's and I agree with what Emma and the lady that she interviewed said. In terms of, it can really sort of grind you down, not necessarily in a very tangible way, or but sort of, she says, you just sort of spend so much of your energy. You normally would spend, N% of your energy on this kind of stuff, and right now it's at least N times 20, and so. It's like you don't realize how much energy that you're not spending on doing other things. She says maybe sense of humor or just enjoying just different things that we normally enjoy in our life. We have to allocate so much of our time and energy to this practice of getting food and trying to make sure that everything is, that normally we don't have to worry about. So I do relate to that pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. But luckily in my area, I don't want to gloat, but we have a supermarket that is sending stuff for individual orders, so I don't have the same kind of stress, except for fresh vegetables and fresh meat. But I just got some delivery now.
No. Is that what that was? Okay, that's nice. Okay.
Let me show you in here. This is really important. Like you were saying, just the things treats, ice cream.
Yeah.
It's really important. It can really help your mental health. What else? And of course, other stuff like this is really important too, because being a pet owner, you really need to grab as much cat food as you can, which is really, really important. But important video there from Emma. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. It's important to have stuff like that. I've got a lot of orders that I'm not sure if they'll come during lockdown, which means that once lockdown ends, I'm going to get this huge truckload of stuff that I don't need anymore. But whatever. Like, it's just another pebble on the pile of worries. That's like not a huge problem, but still at the same time, there's a lot of things to sort of grind you down right now, and I feel it as well. I'm trying to make sure that I stay social. Of my groups of sort of closest friends, we're having a Zoom call or a WeChat video call every few days, just to maybe have a beverage together and sit and have a chat, tell some jokes. We all like to tell jokes, and so I like to tell jokes too. So I am trying to make sure that I still have my sense of humor and still being social with people, and trying not to be a hermit. I mean, I'm not like a figurative, a digital hermit, rather than just obviously a hermit, which we all are right now. Anyway, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say humor. Yeah, keeping your sense of humor is really important. Alex, you can attest to this. I'm the only one who laughs at my jokes anyway. When we have meetings at work, I always think I'm funny, and it's only me laughing, so I'm not having any problems. There's a comment here from Lao Tor. He says, quickly put the ice cream in the freezer unless you want to eat it now. I think that's So what we should do, I reckon, is quickly play our last video, which is about a rooftop barter market. I've seen this video. It's really interesting. So, of course, when it comes to, we've been talking about this a lot, people's food supplies and things like that. It's hard to get the little things you need that maybe aren't seen as, staples like rice, eggs, meat. Talking about condiments, kimchi, everything like that. So there's a community who set up a little bartering stall outside their compound. Let's take a look.
Okay.
Shanghai under the stringent lockdown. Good things or bad things? I believe that God has His way. Finally, Shanghai will get over all the difficulties because almost all the Shanghai people are making their effort. Yesterday, the neighborhood committee gave away canned meat and snacks to me and other volunteers. Both Mr. Fang and I are not willing to keep these, since we served compounds spontaneously and voluntarily. After discussing with other volunteers individually, we decided to contribute all the rewards and share with compound residents. Like what happened 10 days ago. There were 9 boxes of vegetables and groceries were bartered on the rooftop garden. Neighbors took what they need and left their surplus. Unexpectedly, those groceries seemed to become more after half-day's exchange. I brought radish and carrots home to make Sichuan-style kimchi and share again with neighbors. When all the 4 jars of pickles were taken by neighbors, they called me Prince of Kimchi. But this time, a competitor occurred.
这是啥？这是啥？泡菜，这个冒进泡菜。哎呀，竞争对手，泡菜啊！竞争泡菜。哎呀，竞争对手。
我把那个我们那个保鲜锅保鲜袋也拿下来了。你们来想办法分吧。
泡菜小王子有压力啊！没有，竞争压力好大。这个炒肉啊，绝对是炒五花肉，绝对是好吃啊。咱们就那个大一点，对，
完全可以。
Neighbors came down to the roof garden, one after another, when they saw my notice.
哦，有鸡蛋，Thank you。
哎呦，虾也出来了，海鲜大虾。啊，这个过来点，哇，鲜肉包，快点妈，这种面拿了吗？这种面啊，这个面拿了吗？热干面，管它了，可以尝尝味道。午餐肉拿了。
我现在想喝可乐。
To the kids, this mini barter market could be their valuable experience. They may understand that there are other important things in this world, not just money.
发烂了呀，那个邻居。
螺蛳粉啥？我想要螺蛳粉。好，拿走拿走，喜欢就拿走。喜欢螺蛳粉的人不多的。
对，不能光拿钱票，还得拿这银啊！
有任务的吗？
下不了班啊！
不拿我们这个
下不了班啊！
就是啊，new powder. I've never used that before.
Anything you want?
Making bread? For making bread, I have so much bread in my freezer right now.
鸡米花。
鸡米花长什么样子？
哎呀，你不要问了，你就拿一包。
拿回家吃。
好，我还是拿薯片吧。这是薯片。
鸡米花还是不知道呀？
我不想吃鸡米花。那就是。
好的。
This mini trade may make people feel the shortage of food and commodities. Our compound is, however, not the case. In my view, neighbors exchange not only the living necessaries, but emotionally support and encouragement. That make me still firmly believe that Shanghai will make it.
Really good to see. Nice little kind of not just social experiment, but also kind of a necessity for people, I would imagine. What do you reckon, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, obviously their community isn't the same as they're obviously at least in the orange, if not in the green.
Right.
So it's good that they can actually go down and do that. Before we obviously had a case in my building, we're able to make some orders for some different things. So for example, we here in my house, we got a whole bunch of fish. We got something like 30 something fish because we had to do a big order or whatever. And other people in our compound wanted some. And so we ended up sort of like sharing it, selling it to them or trading it for other stuff. You know, it's like a currency. And then our next door neighbors, there's younger guys. They're not locals, but they're younger guys that are live next door. And they had a whole bunch of fangbianmian, instant noodles, right? And so we traded them some fish for a couple boxes of instant noodles and stuff like that. I think that's been going on a lot. Not quite to that extent. They really had like a whole, I saw they had Wang Lao Ji there. Do you know what I'm talking about? Wang Lao Ji, the herbal iced tea in the red can.
Oh, I know the one. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Have you ever had it?
Yeah. No, I don't like it.
You don't like it? I love it, man. Anyway.
I don't really like iced tea.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But anyway, so it looks like that they are getting the stuff they need. So that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Hey, someone just made a comment about the translation. They said they shouldn't be translating pao cai as kimchi. The Koreans will get mad. That video was translated by Raymond Dier. I guess, I don't know. Is it different, Alex? Kimchi, pao cai.
Okay, so I don't really like it. But I do know a little bit. Yeah, kimchi is a Korean word, and kimchi is like the Korean #1 national dish. Like it is, it's super Korean, and it's actually pretty good. It's not my favorite thing, but it's all right. Anyway, so it's like spicy pickled cabbage. But I think that the way they do it out in Sichuan province is different, and so they don't. So I think a lot of people from Korea don't want them to call it kimchi in translation because it's something different. Right? It's like but that makes sense, right? It's kind of like how technically it's like champagne is only made in Champagne in France and everything else is sparkling wine.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like, I have no idea. But anyway.
Oh, they're trying to take over the name. And fair enough. But I still think, I don't know if any other word has entered the English usage because, of course, we would say kimchi, even though it's a Korean word. We know what it is. You know what I mean? Pickled cabbage doesn't sound very good. Now, someone has made a little guess here. Alamek says, Alex loves sodas and sweet drinks. Andy loves chocolates and ice cream. You reckon they're right, Alex?
I don't eat a lot of sweets. I drink a lot of sweet drinks and sodas and fruit juices, and I don't really eat candy or sweets or ice cream or cake or anything like that. Yeah, so that's probably right. Yeah.
See, I think they're spot on because I don't drink sodas or sweet drinks. I reckon, I'm like a can of cola has like 7 teaspoons of sugar in it, so I prefer to get my sugar intake with ice creams and stuff. But yeah, someone Mark who says just use pao cai. Could do, but I don't reckon a lot of people would know what pao cai means, especially if they're not from China.
I don't know, man. I would just say Chinese style kimchi, perhaps, or
That works.
maybe I don't know. We know what it is. It's fine.
We know what it is. Yeah.
Spicy cabbage.
Spicy cabbage. I think they also add different stuff as well, like carrots and
Okay, yeah, you can.
the white radish or something like. Anyway, it can be a lot of
Daikon.
things. Not eggplant. It's more like
Daikon.
不是白萝卜.
Yeah, isn't that called you know what a daikon is? Daikon.
Huh? What is it? Baikon?
Yeah, it's a bailobo. I think that's. Hold on. This,
Oh, I'm not. I have no idea. Show me. Anyway, you guys. Oh, he's back. 那是什么？因为我家里有一个邻居送给我的，但我不知道怎么吃。I have no idea how to eat it.
Cut it up and cook it. I don't know. I'm not a great cook, but yeah, this is. I think this is a daikon, right? Anyway,
I have no idea, but honestly, the first time I've seen that vegetable is during lockdown, and I have 2 huge ones in my fridge, and I don't know what to do.
Well, I mean, I've seen it at restaurants. They'll slice it up and they'll serve it in a sort of it's just a sort of a brown sauce, a mix of soy, vinegar, and other stuff. You know, like a lot of Shanghai food. A little soy here, a little vinegar there, and sliced up and served. Yeah, big one.
Yes, Alamek just said, wow, huge daikon, but I've never seen that word before in my life, daikon. Where is that from?
I don't know what language it comes from. It could be Japanese. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I think so. But yeah, of course, in Chinese, we call this bailuobo, right?
Bailuobo. White radish?
Turnip.
White turnip. Okay.
Not
Anyway.
Whatever.
I'm going to make some pao cai. No, I'm not. I have no idea how. But anyway, you guys, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to show you guys really quickly the current view here in Shanghai, and then I'll share the weather because it has been changing, getting a bit cool lately. Alex, have you found? It's 15 degrees Celsius.
Yeah. A bit chilly today. I had the windows open and closed. I don't know. I can't decide whether it's better to have the windows open or closed. You want the windows open to keep air circulating, but then we also have a positive case literally right next door. So that's also kind of like that. And so it's like, and so I don't know. I guess they're sort of mixing. Yeah, or maybe open the windows on the side of the apartment that are not facing that. I don't know.
Away from them.
Yeah, we're figuring it out anyway. I'm not trying to get too hysteric about it. I know that this whole situation has caused a lot of hysteria amongst a lot of people coming from a lot of different angles, people getting angry about all sort of different things. Some of it justified, some of it not. And a lot of, scientific and or anti-scientific hysteria. People, oh my God, you got to pour bleach down your toilet because the sewer pipe. Like, no, like chill. And so I think, I understand where it comes from. Like we all feel a little bit hysterical right now, but I'm trying not to let that sort of stuff take over my mind and control my behavior too much. So.
Yeah, we've got to wade through it, try and get through it, try to push aside the obviously crap information we're receiving. It's hard to do though, so it's also fine just to switch off. I'm just going to quickly read some comments on the Shanghai Yubao WeChat. Yolanda said, yeah, white radish. She said you can make beef soup with it. Somebody else, Becky, said you could pickle it with white vinegar. I don't have any white vinegar. Someone said you can shred it to make daikon cakes or turnip cakes. And another person, Helen, you can eat it directly.
So I made a video, Andy, right before lockdown about a Shanghai sort of delicacy called youdunzi, which is like a cake made of this, all right? And it's shredded and deep fried. It's shredded and mixed with some sort of shrimp paste or something that's similar to that, and then deep fried, and it comes out like this, almost like looking like a fried hockey puck, and it's made from this. Yeah, pretty good. Yeah,
that sounds good.
Lockdown, yeah.
Well, because they said the word cake, and of course, being like cake, but it's not really cake, like sweet cake. It was more of a savory patty, I guess. Sounds
cake
right.
Or something like that, like a fried vegetable, like a shrimp cake. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, no, it sounds good. No, I might try it afterwards. But anyway, you guys, on that note, we will let you all go. Thank you for tuning in, whether it was on Shanghai Daily YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, or the Shanghai Daily WeChat group, Shanghai Yibao Shine, or on Reports on China YouTube, or my personal Twitter page at AndyBXXX. Until tomorrow, same time, same place, we'll see you later.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.